A young man went on a date, and for 3 solid hours he was telling the girl about himself, his successes, his talents, his accomplishments. And then he says after 3 hours, I was thinking, enough talking about me. Let's talk about you. Tell me, what do you think of me? This week's portion, Parshat Vayeishev, we read about Joseph being one of the sons of Jacob. A man finds Joseph lost in the fields, and he asks Joseph, what's the matter? And Joseph says, I'm lost and I'm looking for my brothers. And the man gives him direction. Joseph meets up with his brothers. They sell him as a slave. He ends up being sold as a slave to the Egyptians. And ultimately, he rises to a position of being the viceroy. As a result of that, he's able to bring his father, his brothers, and their family down to Egypt and saving them from starvation. Who was that man who gave Joseph direction? The Torah doesn't tell us. Rashi, the great commentator, says that the man was not a man at all. Rather, it was an angel by the name of Gabriel. Ibn Ezra, another commentary on the Bible, says no, it was a human being who was just happening to pass by. Perhaps, just perhaps, it was a human. But by the manner of his conduct and his behavior, the fact that he showed concern, he was a human doing an angelic act. Someone once remarked that he moved to Manhattan to get away from people. When I heard that, I thought to myself, what, is he crazy? I think Manhattan is the only place on this planet where at 2 a.m. you can have a traffic jam. If you live in a large, bustling city, let's be honest with ourselves. When was the last time you said good morning or hello to a total stranger? When was the last time we stopped and we helped somebody we have never met and more than likely will never meet again? The verse doesn't say that Joseph went over to the person to seek directions because his GPS on his phone was broken. Rather, a person saw Joseph in trouble. He didn't look at his watch and realize he's running late for an appointment. He didn't pretend that he didn't see him. He went out of his way to ask Joseph, what is the problem? This unknown man went over to Joseph, an act that more than likely took no longer than 30 seconds. But he demonstrated a level of concern and a level of compassion, an act that I consider to be angelic, an act that ultimately changed the course of Jewish history. This week's portion is more often than not read around the time of the festival of Hanukkah. We all know the story of the Maccabees, that they recaptured the Second Temple. There wasn't enough kosher, pure oil to light the menorah, the 7-branch candelabra. And then they noticed that somebody had hidden a jug of oil. And miraculously, that jug of oil that was only meant to burn for 1 night actually burnt for 8. Who was that person who hid that jug of oil? We don't know. One act that more than likely took no longer than 30 seconds changed the way we celebrate the festival of Hanukkah till the end of time. Perhaps the Torah specifically doesn't tell us who was the person who gave the directions to Joseph. Perhaps the Talmud does not tell us who was the individual who hid that jug of oil. The reason why we are not told is because that person is you and I. Let us stop being preoccupied with our own needs. Let us, you and I, become that man in the story of Joseph. Let us, you and I, become that man in the story of the Maccabees. An act that more than likely took no more than 30 seconds. An act that showed kindness and concern, that made us truly angelic. And if we do that, then you and I, like that man of Joseph and the man of the Maccabees, we will be able to change history itself. Thank you.